welcome everybody to another fantastic edition of the Jamal and Joe show. I'm Jamal, that's Joe, and we're here to tell the truth. We're here to have some fun. We're here to entertain, and we're here to talk. Let's get after it. What's on your mind today, sir?
Oh,
nice Pikachu in the background. Yes, Pikachu.
We that was, God, I think that was like the one and only movie I've seen with my whole family was the Detective Pikachu movie.
Nice.
That was a bit of an event because my little one was like, maybe 2 or 3 at the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, I thought he was going to be a super handful, but he was just stoked. I mean, every time Pikachu was on the screen, he yelled out Pikachu. So
yeah,
it worked out real well.
Do you want an update on my Pokemon Go process?
Yeah, shit. Are you still like are you like number 233 in the world still?
196.
Oh my God, progress. Good job.
Yeah, 196. So I will let me share this with you real quick. Right here.
Is it just the raids? Is that what does it for you to give you like all the extra XP?
A little bit of everything. So you see that right there? Whoa.
What am I seeing? Is it on my phone or are you sending it?
On this. Oh, wait, you can't see that yet. Uh-oh. Technology. There you go. Can you see that now?
Yep. Okay, here we go.
Right there.
There you are. 196.
196 in the world. 149 million XP.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, like I said, the number one person in the world has over 1 billion XP, so I'm just a peasant compared to that, but I'm still 196 in the world.
And we talked about before, like the multiple accounts, that doesn't help anything because that spreads out all your experience over all the different accounts instead of continuously building the one.
Correct. Yeah, I have one account.
Yeah, okay.
One account that I grind on, and I just grind away.
I guess so. Well, good job. I mean, I'm a grinder. I enjoy grinding games, different ones more than Pokemon, but the aspect is still the same of play. It's amazing how much I will just play the same damn thing over and over and over again just to level up. I mean, that's all you're doing. I mean,
yeah.
And it's like on a lot of these games, I mean, because like, you beat an enemy and some treasure drops. And
right.
At that point, it is literally just like at the casino,
Yes.
That's all it is.
Yeah, totally.
And that's what they're tapping into because sometimes you get crap treasure and you're like, oh, but once in a while you get something really awesome. You're like, keeps you coming back for more.
It keeps you coming back for more. It's the same thing spending a Pokestop, You spin it one time and you get berries and you're like, oh, crap. And then you spin it and you get a bunch of balls and you're like, yes.
That was the first time I ever spent real world money on a video game add-on was in Diablo. Diablo 2? I don't know. It was an online game, very much a grind fest that you play with other folks. And like high level folks would kind of carry low level folks through the mission. Right. And so like 20 people could be in the lobby and like 1 or 2 guys would just carry everybody through because they were crazy high level, but you would just
kind of ride on the coattails.
Oh, that's all you do. I mean, that's all I did. I mean, and I would just, my characters would jump in levels like crazy. That was as close to social media as I got. Was just like hammering on the keyboard, like, let me in.
Let me in.
But like you would get like a set of armor for your guy and it would be like 5 pieces, both arms, both legs, your head or whatever it was. And once you got all the pieces, I was like, oh, you got like a super teamwork combo or whatever. But getting all those pieces was insanely hard. Like the chances that the computer would drop that for you, even if you did the end raid boss 1 million times, you still may not get all the pieces. And so I finally broke down and I spent real world money on the last piece of like a helmet or something for my dude.
Right.
And I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this, and it's such a weird thing. And this is more than 10 years ago. I don't know. And now, I mean, that whole idea has progressed to being like, that's all video gaming is them trying to figure out another way to get you to spend money in a game. What's neat about Pokemon is that the game is free in the first place.
Right.
A lot of these games are $60 to buy, and then you buy more crap.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So yeah, there's a big debate going on right now in the Pokemon community because they've had a few events that are like $7 or $8 to play, and you spend your
okay.
$7, and then you get like a special thread of like challenges to do. You know, you got to go out and you got to spin a stop and got to catch 10 ice Pokemon and 10 there.
Yeah.
Special research, and then at the end of it you get like a special Pokemon that's not available to anybody else, and like people on Twitter are like losing their minds because you got to spend $8, and I'm like, it's $8. I spent $8 like driving to the store and gas today. Like,
Nice. Yeah.
here's the deal.
Well, I mean,
This
I
goes
don't
along
know.
with any game. This goes along with any game. If you can't afford to pay, then you don't need to play. Not everything in the world is going to be free. I get it. Like the whole thing, like it's a free game and you pay for skins and all that. Like I get that, but like what people have to understand, this is tough for some people to wrap their head around, is it costs like real world money to make a video game.
Well, yeah.
If the company gives everything free and they don't make any money, they can't pay their people to make updates for the game. So they have to generate revenue somehow.
And it's not like there's ads in the game.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, they do such a good job of, I mean, there's no ads in the game that you have to skip through or any crap like that. It's all, I mean, it's not all free, but the majority of it is. This idea of like, I'm entitled to every aspect of the game for free because I want it.
That's exactly what it is. It's entitlement. Like, dude, like, come on. Like, nothing you can do for entertainment is free. Movies aren't free. They have to pay the actors to do it. They have to pay the cameraman. They have to pay the set designers. That's why you pay to go see a movie. That's why you pay to rent a movie. Like, if you want to be entertained, entertainment costs money. Pre-pandemic days, if I wanted to have a day with the wife and the kids and we wanted to go to the zoo, guess what? There's an admission fee. If I wanted to take my kids to Sky Zone, guess what? There's an admission fee. Same with the video games. If you want to be entertained for free, you can play but if you want to do the really cool stuff, you got to pay for it. And if you don't want to pay for it, I'm not forcing you to, but you don't have to go on Twitter and go crazy because asking you for $8, you don't have to pay.
The one thing where I think it kind of drives me nuts is in a game where you have to buy in, like let's say you had, like, there's a game I play, that it's called Star Wars Battlefront 2, right? And this was a crazy anticipated game. This game, people were waiting like, I don't know, over 10 years for this game to come out. And it finally drops, and you have to pay the $60 to buy the game in the first place to play it. And then when it first came out, it was set up to where in order to advance, to get all the new skins, whatever, I mean, you had to just the rate that you could earn experience, and then like the value of any of it was, I mean, it was a crazy amount of time that you would have to invest to unlock stuff, or you could buy it. And people were like, what the hell? Yeah. And it wasn't like it just changed how you look. It actually changed your abilities in the game. And that part was, I thought, to me, kind of lame, because it's one thing. It's one thing when it's a free game, and then you can pay add-on stuff, I guess, if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
But when everybody's paying to get in, and then you got to pay more, and you can be better, especially when it's and this is a competitive game. This is a game where it's like teams that are trying to blast each other. When you can pay money to make your blaster better, that's lame.
Right. Yeah.
So that they've really run with this whole idea to the moon, which you of course.
But then again, I'll stand beside my statement that I'm not going to knock anybody's hustle. And
shoot,
it's
I
2020.
mean,
People are trying to make money however they can.
dude, how expensive were games back in Atari 2600 days? Like when we were kids.
Yeah.
I remember like games were still like $40.
Yeah.
And that was back then money.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? So
and the games nowadays are so much more advanced than what we were buying on ColecoVision and Atari, even like Sega Genesis, even like the first couple of Nintendos. The games, I specifically remember the games being $39.99. I remember that. And nowadays a game is $60, and you're talking about it only going up $20 in 20 years for what you're getting. I mean, I don't know. I think that our society has become entirely too entitled on this should be free for me, and I don't have to pay anything.
Well, and what's crazy is how many games are free. I mean, you can go and play a game like Fortnite, which is one of the most popular games in the world.
No, it is the most popular game in the world.
The most.
I was watching the Game Awards the other night. I don't know if you watched it. The Game Awards was on last Thursday night.
Nice. No.
Fortnite is the most popular game in the world.
Right on. I haven't played it, but I mean, obviously folks love it, and that's great. But I can't knock it. I mean, the game itself is free. If I wanted to jump on, I could jump on right now and play. And yet, damn well that they've made gazillions of bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how it's set up. I don't know if you can buy a better gun, or if it's just you buy different skins just to look different.
Right.
I don't know how it's set up, but whatever they're doing, they're killing it, and good on them for doing it. I mean, like I said, the video game industry, even before Rona, I don't know what the stats were, but I know that the video game industry killed the movie industry as far as like how much money generated annually.
Right.
It was ridiculous. And that's why you see like actual A-list actors involved in video games, whether they're doing voice work or actually having their whole appearance in there. It's a crazy market, and I can only imagine that'll be more so as the Rona drags on and people are still pumping out content. How folks will be involved, voice work or whatever. I mean, shit. There's a new game called Cyberpunk 2077, and Keanu Reeves is like a main character in that.
Yeah, they had some controversy this week, I heard.
I've heard it hasn't. I've heard the game itself was super buggy and problematic, which is crazy because again, it's a game that's been anticipated for just almost probably 10 years.
Right.
And like, holy crap, you can't say you've rushed it at this point. And to put out a game that's super incomplete is like, what? How is that? It still happens. It happens like, I don't know. It's painful. I think about what games used to be, and when I was younger, what I thought they could become, and man, the marketing that's gotten involved in between has really kept a lot of that. There's a lot of independent games. You just got to find them, and I don't look for them very much. I get sucked into the A++ titles, the big mega hits.
Right.
So I'm a sucker for that. I got to be honest.
Hey, have you played Among Us?
No, I've heard of it, but I don't. I have no idea what it's about, other than all the kids love it.
Yeah, the kids love it.
So
I'm
that's
the
cool.
imposter. That's shouted several times in my house.
I have no idea. So do your kids play it? They love it.
Yeah, they love it. They love it.
Okay.
They play it. So
It must be fun. I
yeah,
mean,
it is. Oh yeah. So my two daughters and their cousins will all play together because they're all friends on their little social network and you know. So here's what I realized. Just kind of a side note.
hmm,
I figured out that my daughter is using me as an alt, my 8-year-old.
all right.
So she plays this game on Roblox called Royal High. And I'm pretty restricted to where she can only have so many friends. And that if she tries to get a new friend, I count and she's got to like get my permission to like add a new friend. She's 8.
Nice.
I don't want her out on the interwebs getting people who say they're 8 and they're really 21.
Yeah, right.
That. So she's got a few friends and her sister and her cousins who are her friends on the game, but they don't really like this game because it's kind of like a kiddie game and they like the more tweeny games. So she came to me one day and she's like, Dad, can I see your phone? And I'm like, sure. I give her my phone and she's over there in the corner, you know, tapping away. And I'm like, okay, here's your phone back. I'm like, okay. Then the next day, hey, Dad, can I see your phone? I'm like, sure. Give her the phone. So the third day she comes to me, says, your phone? I'm like, what do you need my phone for? She's like, well, the Christmas update just dropped on Royal High. Again, this is an 8-year-old saying this to me. The Christmas update just dropped. And if I want to get the new pet or the new whatever it is, I have to have somebody else, one of my friends, send me a gift every day that I can open.
Nice.
And you won't let me go get random friends. So I created an account on your phone and have your account send me a gift every day. So
Nice.
basically, I'm your alt account. She's like, yes.
Right on. I mean, resourceful.
Yeah.
And yeah, as as long as they're not buying stuff or I guess giving away all your info. I don't know. I mean, at this point, if that even matters, but
No, I mean, if she wants to buy Roblox bucks or whatever they are, Robux,
yeah.
she has to try to buy it, and then it goes to my phone or my wife's phone, and it says,
Oh,
kid,
you get like an alert. That's nice.
yeah, it
Right
says
on.
kid 1 or kid 2 is trying to buy X amount of Robux. Then I have to hit yes or no. I got to hold the phone to my face, and so they always come to me and say, hey, can I buy some Robux? And I'm like, all right, fine. And I'm
Yeah, right on.
and then they send me the request, and then we have to like click it and say yes or no. So
No, that's probably good. Yeah. Well, so what do you got for the week? That's a big standout for you. What's on your list?
so I try to stay kind of away from politics as much as possible.
Really?
But I mean, there's so much low hanging fruit out there. So if we talk about politics, one of the biggest things of the week that I came across was the Biden transition team is running into issues because the Trump transition team, shocker, does not want to give them any information. They don't want to play ball. Now, in the history of our country, we have thrived on the peaceful transfer of power. Goes back to what you've been saying since the beginning of these handshake gentlemen's agreements, and how Trump has decided he's not going to play ball with any of these up to the bitter end. So the latest news is the State Department, the Department of State that kind of keeps track of all the bad guys all across the world and all the good guys all across the world, decided that they were going to go on a 2-week vacation over the holidays. The Biden transition team is trying to get information, and they're like, "We're closed." They're like, "What do you mean you're closed? You're the Department of State. You never close." They're like, "Eh." Um, and at the same time, Trump is either firing or making people resign from their positions, thus complicating the Biden transition team to get information. Because the guy who's like, "Hey, I've been here a week. I don't even know where the light switch is. How can I give you these files?" And what they're saying is that this is a concerted effort on the Trump administration's part to make it hard on the Biden transition team. So when Biden takes office, if something happens, all the blame is going to come down on Biden, and Biden is not going to have the correct information to make the important decisions that he needs to make because the Trump team deleted the file, wouldn't let him have access to the file, and so and so. And it just goes to show, in my opinion, and I'll go on the record, that Donald Trump does not care about this country. Donald Trump cares about Donald Trump and how he looks, and to hell with everything else.
You know, I that was going to kind of, I guess, go hand in hand with what I would say is the big news of the week was the like broad attack across like our entire infrastructure
Yes.
by Russia.
Yes.
And you know, again, I guess if you're a coincidental person and you go, Russia, like they're saying it was an act of war, and the president is saying, nah, I don't think it was Russia at all.
I think it was China.
He said, I think it was China. Oh, well.
Russians over here go, hey, it was us. Look.
Yeah, literally. Like, I mean, and so, you know, and people seem to get really defensive when it's brought up that, you know, everything he does is either is definitely to the detriment of our country, and then to the absolute, which is almost always to the absolute benefit of any of our adversaries. And pointedly,
specifically
Russia, like every single time. And so it's staggering that the story you mentioned where the State Department just happens to go, piss off. And apparently, again, how folks can just not do their jobs. And these are folks that it's not like it's just my kind of job where I just have a dumb job. Well, not a dumb job, but I just have a job that is not of national security level importance.
Right.
You know, my job does close on holidays. You know, and so, I mean, again, I thought this is called dereliction of duty. I thought that like people that were like in a service oriented capacity, like the armed services, the military, cops, even that's what this is. You're not doing your job. You're literally like, that's what I thought like McConnell's entire existence has been, is a dereliction of duty, other than when he's seating justices, gets that done really quick. But the stack of bills on his desk that aren't even allowed to be voted on, again, it's allowing one person to break the entire system. And I thought there should be a penalty for that, but apparently there isn't. So that makes it tough. But yeah, you know, but I mean, shit, it was what, years ago when it was like the top, it was the top, like, it's not the KGB anymore, but whatever their letters are now, FSB.
Yeah, I think it is.
But it was like their top two dudes were like in the White House, in the Oval Office, with the president. I mean, that was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
And I mean, they're all just laughing it up. And you're just like, I mean, is this happening? This is real? I mean, nobody gives a shit? That nobody sees a problem with that? I mean, oh, Lord. So, you know, the writing was on the wall a long time ago. And again, my personal view is that he has been. I work under the view that he's under massive debt to Russian people, massive, massive debt, and so he does anything they tell him to do to try to
Right.
relieve any part of that debt that they would wave in front of him,
Exactly.
and because that's how he acts, that's how he
Here's the deal.
behaves.
He's under massive debt. Worst case scenario. Best case scenario. Worst case scenario is they got some other stuff on him besides him being in massive debt.
But you know what? I think any of the other stuff, like everybody always alludes to, like, oh, it was like hookers peeing on him or something. Yeah, do you really think that would even offend his base of super Christian folks? I
No.
mean, they'd
I
be
mean,
like,
it
"Oh,
should.
it's fine,"
No,
but
it should,
if
but it won't.
yeah, but if they found out that he was like, in debt to Russian mobsters, then sudden, I mean, just that he was in debt, that he wasn't the rich guy he always tries to pretend to be.
Right.
That would be the one. That would be the thing that actually sinks him. Like, oh, he just has, I got some kinky shit I like to do out on the farm too. So, I can't really judge the Don for getting peed on, who hasn't wanted to get peed on before. So I think they would excuse that in a heartbeat because they'll excuse anything. Like I said, just like, I mean, it used to be Russia was the enemy, or like we all thought that together, but now apparently one group still feels that way and the other group feels like, I don't know, they're the best. I mean,
it's hard to say.
But these cyber attacks, I mean, they happen all across like a whole bunch of different US agencies, and they all shared a thing called like Starfire or some damn thing like that, which is apparently an IT firm that is a private company that contracts with the government to provide security, like IT security services, and had a login 123 essentially. So it was almost like, I mean, it seemed like a ridiculously negligent open door,
right,
or outright purposefully left open.
Yeah.
And I think like the nuclear weapons agency or whatever was part of the breach. So that's cool. I don't know exactly what all they get, but whatever they wanted, they've gotten for 4 years. This was just the big hoovering of it all. You know what I mean? This was the big vacuum cleaner, garage sale, fire hole sale. How much does this scratch off my books, Uncle Vlad?
Exactly. Yep.
Are we good now?
Yeah. Am I good?
Yeah. Not yet. Okay. What else do I got to do?
Yeah,
you want some bombers? I'll fly some bombers to you. You know, whatever. Yeah, man. I think it's just fire sale on Donnie's, to try to clear Donnie's accounts. And I mean, if he's not a wholesale asset owned by Putin, well, he sure the heck acts like it.
And I mean, since before he was elected to office, he's headed in for China. China this, China that, China this, China that. Anything that happens, he tries to divert it to China. Now, it might well be China, but we know that there's a Russian connection. We know this 100%. And anytime Russia might be in the wrong, he runs to their aid. And that's something that this country has never done. We've never,
I mean,
in Russia, when Russia has nothing to, Russia wants to harm us, actively wants to harm us.
Have we pulled out of NATO yet? Because I feel like
fortunately, he didn't have the chance to. He wanted to, but he didn't.
I mean, think about that. I mean, like we literally, I mean, how insane is it? We're actually having that as is that really? I mean,
yeah.
What?
I know. I know, man.
Like, are we still part of the United Nations? I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing that Biden's got to do is get back in the World Health Organization. I mean, we're in the middle of a global pandemic and we pull out of the WHO.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Everything that every move he's made has been to at least our detriment and or our adversaries' benefit. Every
Correct.
single move. There hasn't
Yeah.
been one move that has like made our country a stronger, better place. Yet that's the flag that he waves the hardest, and that's what people are somehow like, oh, that's my guy. I mean, they all so I don't know, you know, that like we've talked about that disconnect a lot. So I still don't know how you know, I what we've also talked about is, you know, whether or not people wearing their flags and their hats is a good thing or not. And I will, whether or not it's good or not, I will say I don't see as much of it.
No, you sure don't.
Suddenly everybody, not everybody, but suddenly a lot of folks are, you know, oh no, that was never my guy. And like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure.
So,
I was like, bro, I got the receipts on you, right? I got
man, I
I
mean,
got video, I got footage.
I've heard of some of the appointments that have been made. Like the Native American lady was made head of the BLM.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Which is
awesome. I mean, come on, that's
a Native American person in charge of the Bureau of Land Management. That makes too much sense. Like, why has that never happened before?
oh man, yeah. So I mean, and I mean they've got a rainbow, you know, already appointed. You know, the
Yeah.
the roadblocks and again this whole. These people that wrap themselves in the flag and they're screaming how patriotic they are the people that are cheering for the people roadblocking America. I mean,
Yes.
you're literally roadblocking America moving forward.
Yes.
And that's patriotic.
Yes.
Sweet. We literally do not live on the same planet other than we actually do.
I know.
But goddamn, I mean, how do you reason with somebody that's that and do like half of the voting country allegedly, you know?
Yeah.
I just it
So here's the thing. This is what
stunning.
I love to talk to my Trump friends about. Love it. They spent 4 years saying Jamal, America first, this America first, that America first, blah 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 blah. So the first time Biden does something that's good for America, I'm gonna go America first, right?
No, these people. I
You
mean,
said
and this whole but this whole idea of like, oh, this might happen or that might happen, and then they're gonna blame Biden. Man, they're gonna blame Biden for every goddamn thing anyway. I mean,
well, he 2 years blame on Obama for everything.
You just put that shit on ignore, and I know that, you know, I don't know, boy, I'm sure everybody's pulling for Georgia.
Yeah, I know, right?
Boy, will that change some stuff.
Oh.
I mean, that will be wild because, you know, I mean,
Georgia can effectively neuter Mitch McConnell.
right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, that's and even the stimulus right now. I mean, what is the stimulus? I mean, did they approve it or did they say, oh, we funded the government for 3 days?
Right. They funded the government for 3 days.
That's where our country's at. We go 3 days at a time. I mean, okay.
Essentially, we got a payday loan.
Dude.
Right.
I mean,
we got
like 800%.
We got a title loan. Is what we got.
Wow, we're like at one in the morning in America, man.
Yeah. So I was listening to the radio earlier today, and essentially they said that 90% of the stimulus was worked out, and they were working on some other details. But I think it was only like a $600 stimulus.
I mean, just nothing. I mean,
yeah.
And I think the one part I did see was that they weren't going to include like any further sick leave, because why would you? I mean,
right. I mean,
pandemic.
Not like anybody's getting sick or anything.
Yeah, no. So I don't know. I mean, again, I just don't see where. I mean, where are these great negotiators? Yeah.
I mean, so the problem with that is, I mean, there's a lot of problems. I mean, I honestly want to know, and I don't know the answer to this question, who physically writes these bills? Because all of a sudden you'll see a bill come out and it's this thick. It's like 1,300 pages. Now all those people haven't read it. I want to know who's writing it. Because
all the interns or whatever. I mean,
here's the thing, but think of it this way.
Actually, no, I wouldn't even say the interns. I would say like a bunch of outside people that then, all the lobbyists that then hand it to them and go, here's your bill.
That's what I'm afraid of. Because out of a 1,300 page bill, what if somebody slips a paragraph in on page 712?
Oh, that's what they all do, I assume. I mean, that's the whole problem. Or
I mean, you get this on page 712, and then 2 years later, just like the Patriot Act, they're like, oh my God, we didn't know that was in there. Well, what do you mean you didn't know that was in there? You sponsored the bill and you voted, you passed it. And you had senators and Congress people 2 years after the Patriot Act passed saying, well, we never fully read the bill, but for national security, we rushed it through and we voted on it.
Because that excuse would make it like in high school. I mean, shit.
Maybe.
No, I mean, I wouldn't even let my kid give me that BS excuse. I mean,
right.
Really? Would you? I mean, and that's what I'm saying. These are the people that are guiding us and leading us. I mean, they can't even measure up to freaking what a third grader can pull off.
Here's the thing. And again,
there's no consequence for them. Honestly.
There's no consequence. But here's the thing. I don't know the answers to these questions, but I, in my years, have known really good people who've gotten elected to various offices, right? And in candid moments, they've told me, when you get on the inside, when people campaign and they make these promises, they legitimately plan on doing it. But once you get there, there's really no way to do it. You have to play by the rules that are set up of the place that you're going. All right. And I think we all saw that on display with Barack Obama. Barack Obama was coming in as a US senator and he wanted to do X, Y, and Z. And then he got in there and realized old boy Mitch McConnell was not going to let any of it fly. Like, just from the minute he took the oath of office, Mitch McConnell said, anything that you campaigned on, you're basically not going to be able to do because I'm not going to let you do it.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
so
for one guy to have that kind of a swing, because even the president doesn't have that kind of a swing,
right?
But
my point is you send good people to represent you, and they get there, and the machine that preceded them doesn't necessarily turn them dirty, but at the same time, it doesn't allow them to do the things that they said they were going to do. Does that make sense?
Sure. So, I mean, with that fatalistic view, then, I mean, they go there just knowing that they're going to be making some side hustle and call it a day and hope for some change down the road. And if it comes, great. And if it doesn't, well, that's great too, because I'm in a good gig.
I think everybody goes in there with the idea that they're going to do something good. And I think every generation you have a chance for that to happen. Because if you look at history, it's only once in a generation where a president, a Congress, a president, a Senate, and a House are all of the same party. Mm. And it's generally when something gets done, right? Look at Roosevelt. Look at when these big projects for the country have gotten done. It's only been done when it's been the House, the Senate, and the president are all of the same party and get something through, right? I mean, go back to the beginning, and it happens about once a generation. Clinton had it. Right? Clinton got a lot of stuff done. Obama had it for 2 years and got Obamacare through and got a few other things through. But since then, it's been gridlock. So you have to have the right people there at the right point in history in order for something to happen. Now, we have a chance for that. So Biden is going to be president. The House is in Democratic hands. Right now, the Senate is in Republican hands. That could change on January 5th, and it would be a 50-50 split. And Kamala Harris, as the president of the Senate, would cast the deciding vote. And then in 2 years, there's a chance to outright win. And then at that point, you'd have the House, Biden, and the Senate. And Biden.
That's a big assumption. It's a big assumption just because look how much they lost in the House this last go around. I mean, they lost a ton in the House, right?
It's true. So, I mean, you send good people there, but you have to have kind of all the stars aligned for things to happen, because if you don't have all three, it's going to be entirely difficult to get legislation through. Now, if well in Georgia, Biden's going to have a 2-year window to get a whole bunch of stuff done, like you were talking about. And I think his plan is to rush everything through in these 2 years if Georgia goes his way and get some stuff done. And I think you've elected, so you lost some people in the House, but the people you have in the House are progressive and are extremely forward-looking. Have a chance to get some stuff done.
What do you think will be on the agenda if that's the case? The top 2 things.
I don't know about the top 2 things. I think one of the first things that he should do is some type of voting rights bill. There should be something done with the student debt. There should be some legislation passed when it comes to immigration. And then we need a big jobs bill dealing with infrastructure, and also something done with the environment. That's probably my top 5 or 6, what I listed off right there.
No sweat.
Top 2, I don't know. I think they're equally as important, that they could all be the top 2.
I mean, the pandemic obviously is.
Well, the pandemic is over everything, but I think a lot of that is already in place. I think with the pandemic is the Biden administration is going to need to make sure that the doses of the vaccine are judiciously distributed safely to everybody.
Which they're already being held up by Trump as far as what was it? He was holding them up going to
New York.
Okay, that sounds about right. And again, how is that even legal? How is that not something you're like, oh, that kind of sounds like a crime against humanity? And like again, the UN or something should come lock your dumb ass up. I mean,
right.
Anyhow,
so that's what I think his top 5 or 6 should be. Not necessarily in that order. Pandemic obviously taking the top billing, but I think those are the things that should come shortly thereafter. All of them are equally important. All of them have merit. I don't get paid enough to know which one is more likely to pass than the other, or which one has the votes, but I think those things, if I had to pick personally, I think the environment is probably the longer game. I don't know if that needs to be first, because I think there needs to be more thought on that. But if I would, aside from the pandemic, I think the number one thing should be a job and infrastructure bill, something that will get.
But man, I mean, right there, you got 3 things that you could do all in the same thing. All in the same thing. You tackle environmental problems by getting folks off of coal and all of that and into electrify everything, including and then infrastructure. I mean, that's nothing but jobs. So boom, done. Next. I mean, that all those things together, they all go hand in hand, and they're all problems that help, that you solve one with the other.
And then I think shortly thereafter, you have to look at criminal justice reform and immigration reform. So Biden and Harris made a lot of promises to people who are Black and brown. and various shades of them, of their four, to vote, saying, if you vote for me, I will push forward X, Y, and Z.
Mm.
So I think they need to pay off on that. Criminal justice reform, immigration reform, some form of path to citizenship for some folks, DACA folks who've been here for a while. Putting in some protection so people who look like me aren't killed by people in authority. Just some overall fairness and leveling of the playing field, not necessarily taking things from some people and giving it to others, but allowing people who have historically not been able to get it by means of their own merit and not pulling it away from somebody else. I think there's enough pie where everybody can have a piece, where I don't have to take yours for me to get mine.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that, yeah, you can. That there's some people's pie, it's just a little too big. I think, honestly, quite frankly, the idea of a billionaire is a little bit obscene. I just do. And I mean, I'm all for making money. I like money. But again, I mean, I don't think any of us quite understand what a billionaire is and how far away from any of us that level of income is, and how I think that's just an indicator of how out of balance things are. I mean, you have billionaires and you have people that can't eat. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's out of whack. And so, yes, I do believe that, in fact, some folks need to get taxed more, and some of their money does need to get taken away and given to somebody else, lots of other else's, because they've got more than they could spend in 10 lifetimes. That's just stupid. And that opportunity that gives them to build more wealth, that nobody else has that opportunity, because it takes money to make money,
Mm-hmm.
is absolutely true. And I mean, they're essentially just buying some more money. And that's not an option that any of the rest of us have. And so, I mean, and yes, I agree. Whether it's, reparations or equaling things out, whatever you want to call it, fine. I agree with that. And I think part of that is, like I said, the idea of a billionaire is just, it's kind of obscene, because like even LeBron, is he a billionaire? I don't know. You think, because you think about that, you go, maybe,
Right.
but just barely. If he is,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
just barely. And you're like talking about LeBron freaking James
Right.
is maybe just barely a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, list off all the other billionaires that there are, and you're like, who are these clowns?
Right. Yeah.
What are they doing?
Mm-hmm.
Good for society? Absolutely zilch.
Right.
So I just, I have a balance as well. I balance the idea of wanting to make money with the idea of there shouldn't be people and kids that can't even afford to eat. I mean, I don't think that people should be tied to their job for their health care. I that disparity is just, to me, it's obscene. It just is. And so, this is, getting into the, probably the Bernie Sanders, territory. But we've been redistributing wealth from all of the folks to a very few folks. It's been going this way for a long, long time. So I'm all for it going the other way for a little while. I think it's absolutely imperative. And this threat of you might drive off the rich folks, I don't know. Their passport isn't good anymore either. So whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But no, I'm not too worried about driving off the rich folks. I mean, I know like there's like this whole thing of everybody's leaving California. All the rich people are leaving California. Elon Musk left California.
Right.
And okay, that's probably big money that's leaving there. I get that, but I don't think California is quite having too big of an issue with that yet. I don't know. Their taxes are obscene too, and there's a lot of room for improvement there. How do you have things like Silicon Valley that generate crazy amounts of money, and yet they've got to tax their citizens that hard
Right.
when they let Amazon not pay anything? Yeah, what the shit? I mean, maybe there's a few ideas there that could get changed because, maybe, but how many billions is Amazon worth? And they don't pay any tax, really?
Right. Yeah.
That doesn't seem very smart.
I mean, I definitely think that there is room to improve the system. Because at the same time, if I was in the legislature or the Senate or the House or whatever, let's say I'm in the state legislature of my state, North Carolina, and Amazon is in my state. And I'm sitting down and I'm looking at the books and I say, okay, this huge corporation is here. They're generating billions of dollars and they're not paying us very much in state tax at all. So, in turn, they should be compensating their workers in our state at a much higher level to offset the money that they're not paying in state taxes. Now, those deals where they're not paying any money in taxes are lock solid with lawyers years ago. There's probably no way to undo those, right? There might be, I don't know. But from what I've been told, some of these are 50, 75, 100-year contracts that are rock solid. But
how rock solid were our contracts that America signed that we recently walked away from?
International contracts are a lot easier to walk away from than U.S. contracts, from what I've been told.
All right.
Because there's case law that we'd have to get a lawyer on the show.
I guess I can get that. I just, like we've walked away from some pretty big agreements.
Well,
but I hear what you're saying. That's not the same as like domestic business law. I'm going to open my window. The heater in here is crazy.
Yeah. Well, and then the Paris Agreement, things like that, we had an out. There was like a right of first refusal. There was like an out for the Paris Agreement and the things that we walked away from. We had a out to get out of those. But domestic stuff is a lot harder to get out of. But what I know they can do, because I have spoken to some elected officials in my state, and I know what states can do is they can implement a rule to these corporations that they would have to compensate their workers higher in lieu of them paying state taxes. Now, the politicians in every state have not shown the intestinal fortitude to push these companies to do that because they fear that these companies would up and leave and go to another state. And then states like Texas, who will take anybody and they don't care. They just want the revenue.
People of Texas sure care. They're pissed.
Oh, they are.
It's hilarious. And what's hilarious, because like I talked to them for work, and I'm like, you guys got to love it. You love business. You've got to love all these folks coming here with all their business.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shoot, no. Those left coast liberals ruining Texas. Like, man, Texas is going to turn blue, isn't it? How crazy is that going to be? So, well, again, I mean, I'm not like advocating like rewriting the entire tax code and all this kind of stuff. Some of it, yes. Um, and while I don't think you could strip every billionaire of their billionaire status, you know, you could strip them of a bit of it. Um, and that collectively, how much that would help, you know? Um, let alone if you just start looking at different spendings that we have that are just, you know, we don't bat an eye at, you know, $1 trillion for defense.
Yeah, I think billionaires, I think it depends on the billionaire. All right. So we've got a brand new billionaire in my city, David Tepper. He bought the Carolina Panthers for $2 billion. Well, just under $2 billion in cash. Think about that. He bought
Terrific.
for $2 billion in cash.
That would kind of get to my earlier point of like,
right.
That things are out of whack when that can happen.
Right. But he's worth $13 billion. All right. Hedge fund guy. And we can get into how he made his money in a minute. But we had another billionaire who owned the Panthers before, Jerry Richardson, who ended up being a dirty old Southern man who liked to shave women's legs and do all kinds of crazy stuff. Again, we can get into that later. But David Tepper gives away so much money to people in Charlotte. Just, there was a thing last Friday where he bought 1,500 bikes and gave them to underprivileged kids. What did that cost? 10 grand? I mean, that's like me dropping a and not being able to find it in the washing machine. Like, oh well, I lost $5. Like, would I like that $5 back? Yeah, but is that $5 going to prevent my kids from eating? Probably not. He bought 1,500 bikes. He all the workers at the stadium who were going to get laid off, he decided to bring them all back and paid them. Had a big holiday party, bought everybody a turkey. I mean, just little things that like he probably has to do because he owns the football team in the city. But at the same time, he's doing it. You know, I'm not going to shame somebody into doing something and then say, well, you should have done it to begin with. You know what I mean? He's done a lot of good stuff for a billionaire who probably doesn't have to do it. You look at all of the other owners. I mean, Michael Jordan owns a professional sports team in this town, and he does a heck of a lot more for this city than Michael Jordan does. And Michael is also a billionaire. Not to say that Jordan doesn't do things, but this guy does more.
Which is all swell and good. I don't want to have to rely on random benefactors holding our society up versus a system that is set up to reasonably tax folks that make ridiculous amounts of money so that they can help support the rest of us, just like you and I paying our taxes supports the rest of us. I mean, that's, you know, that's easy math.
Well, I mean, that's the old argument of greed versus altruism. If for some reason I created something, or I inherited something, or I manufactured something and I became a billionaire, you wouldn't need to tax me. I would be giving back automatically, right? Because I came up not having $1 billion, right? I came up seeing people struggle around me. You know, I wasn't poor.
But again, that's that whole idea that, I mean, we're relying on people's good hearts to donate what they're not required to. I don't believe in that. I believe that our system should be set up. I mean, what was it in the 50s? I mean, people were taxed at like 90 something percent when they were in the top 1% of earning. I mean, and they still managed to do okay. That was the boomingest time of America. Because amazingly, everybody got to get a piece. When everybody was getting a piece, suddenly the American dream was happening. You know what I'm saying? But we don't have that anymore. We have that concentration of wealth to the top, and everybody else getting left behind. And I don't believe in that. I believe that maybe okay, fine. You know, if 95% on the top 1% is a little too strong, you can talk me down a bit. But I'm saying that they don't pay anywhere close to that now. And that as a whole, billionaires are not helping our society. You know, I mean, if they buy a few turkey dinners to make a freaking nice Instagram post, that's swell. But that ain't helping the whole community. That ain't helping the whole country. And folks that are making that much dough, I mean, people like that, oh, we should just have a flat tax. Okay, fine, a flat percentage. I'm all for it. Flat 15%. Flat 15% of my pay looks a little different than a flat 15% of their pay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still 15%, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same 15% impact on us. Don't matter. So fine, 15%, 20%, whatever it is. I mean, shit. Can you imagine if billionaires had to pay 39% or whatever crazy shit we pay? Oh my God, we might actually
Right.
have some money in this country.
Right.
But no, we don't. And that's the fundamental problem.
So are you a fan of the
And,
flat? Are you
quite frankly, I don't think that's a Green Party, AOC, communist, socialist. No, bullshit. That just shows how far this country as a whole has moved to the right. That the talk of billionaires even paying their fair share is suddenly viewed as like crazy commie talk. You know what I'm saying? That's
so,
how far to the right this whole country has moved.
so are you a fan of the flat tax?
A flat percentage. You
A
got
flat percentage.
yeah.
Okay.
See, that's the bullshit that they want to sell you. Oh
Right.
yeah, a flat $5,000 tax. Yeah, that's stupid. And that's the bullshit that they're selling. We should just have a flat tax. Well, yeah, because you can pay that real easy, can't you? But broke people are not able to. Flat percentage tax. Flat 20%.
So, how do you feel about sales taxes?
I would say that if our taxes were done properly, we wouldn't need them.
So, North has a sales tax, and a lot of the progressive people have explained to me that a sales tax is a regressive tax. That a sales tax is
I can hear that argument.
that it's a burden on people who make less than people who make more, because
of course it is. You can't argue that it's not. I mean, to
right,
argue that
because sales tax. Let's say where I live, the sales tax is 7.5%.
Okay.
So 7.5 cents on every dollar I spend on certain items is taxed.
Yep.
So if I make $25,000, let's say I'm a minimum wage earner, and I make 25, whatever it works out to be, and I walk into my local store and I buy said item, right? I buy a bag of chips, right? Bag of chips is $2.00, so I'm going to pay 14, 17 cents on that, whatever that is, right? So if I make minimum wage, the percentage of my income that I'm paying on that bag of chips is significantly higher than somebody who makes $450,000 a month. They're going to walk into that same grocery store and line up right next to the person who's making minimum wage. And yeah, it's a quote unquote flat tax, but at the same time, they're paying a significant portion of their income versus a person who's paying more.
That's what I'm saying. And
You
that's
know,
why I would support a flat percentage tax of
right.
people's overall net worth. And this inheritance bullshit, I mean, I think it's bullshit because I haven't inherited anything. So, yeah, I guess get back to me if I ever leave anything to anybody. But yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, and again, any civilized first world country, which we're just not qualified to call ourselves that anymore. But if we wanted to, that's what you do. You reasonably tax folks.
Right. Well, your state does not have a sales tax.
Correct.
The state to you does have a sales tax.
Correct.
The state to the south of you has a sales tax, and the states to the east of you have a sales tax.
All the stores on the borders do well. Yes.
Yes, they do. they do very well, right?
Yeah, for certain.
That was why, for the viewers who are watching, Oregon and Washington out on the West Coast share a border, obviously, and the largest state in the state of Oregon, Portland, shares a border with Washington. And for years, there was a mall literally in the middle of the river that separated the two states, and there was a mall there. And for years, that thing thrived. It just thrived because you had people coming from Washington to shop at the mall and to shop at all the stores because they could come and get it for, 8% less than if they went to the store down the street. Now, why that failed, I don't understand it. There's probably a lot of things that I don't understand about that, but you're right. Stores on the borders do well.
Yeah. Similarly, the fireworks store in Washington State does really well because they sell all the fireworks that we don't allow.
What's the name of that place up there? I remember seeing the commercials when I was a kid. Was it Blackjack Fireworks?
Blackjack, I believe. Yeah. Although Washington has become more restrictive in what fireworks they allow. Although you wouldn't freaking know it by, listening to my neighborhood on 4th of July, you'd think you're in like Fallujah.
Okay, you can see across the river from where you're at, right?
Not my house. Well, yeah, I can. I can. Yeah, I can.
Reasonably close to where you are, you can see across the old.
I can from my upstairs room. I can see the mountains across the river. Sure. So it's a nice view.
Yeah. We have kind of a similar setup here in Charlotte. We sit on the border with North Carolina and South Carolina, and North Carolina is somewhat more restrictive when it comes to certain things, and people go over the border to South Carolina. South Carolina is wide open. You can pretty much do anything in South Carolina. You don't have to wear a helmet if you're on a motorcycle. Like you name it and you can do it in South Carolina, and it gets done in South Carolina. So everybody goes over there to buy fireworks.
Now, but what about like weed? Where was that on any of your areas, places?
Now remember, I live in the Bible Belt. I live in the South.
No, I know, but that's what's been so crazy lately. Is that even like didn't Georgia legalize it or I want to say or Alabama or some damn thing. I could have swore I heard like some states down there did.
I don't know. I can look that up while we're talking.
Was it Florida?
Hold on, let me see.
Maybe nutty. I don't know. I know so many states did. It's Arizona did, for God's sake. That blew my mind. Because they did not play around in Arizona.
No, they were locking fools up for life.
Dude, it was not cool.
All right. States where marijuana is legal. All the states that have legalized marijuana. Let's take a look here. All right. This is great video. All right. Let's do a little screen share here since I figured out how to do this.
Nice. What do you got?
And
do you think this will be something that'll be like on the early agenda of decriminalizing it, like nationwide?
I think it should be. All right. So
I'm gonna scoot forward so I can
look
see
my little cursor here. Whoa, no, no.
Uh-oh. Now you screwed it all up.
Oh man. I don't want to guess pass.
Just from the map, though, I see. I'm gonna point. There it is. See,
on.
Florida's blue there, so they may have
Yeah.
like the medical. They may have like the medical going on there. Looks like Louisiana, also blue. Some green nugs.
Yeah.
Check out. I still can't believe that weed's legal. I mean, honestly, I never thought I'd see the day. I really didn't.
We stop sharing this for a second until I can pull this up.
Nah, for sure.
But yeah, I had the map, and then it wanted me in, and it wanted my email address, and
nah, you don't need all that.
Like,
do you got like a buy sell thing? I got like topics here.
Yeah, give me a topic while I get this up, because I really wanna go over this.
Okay, yeah, no, for sure. Well, here's one. Well, when you give the finger, how do you present? Because for my observations, there's two distinct ways of offering the finger.
Okay.
And I'm curious which one you'll do. This is similar to like, do you sneeze when you look at a bright light? There's the full there. Well, I don't know. Should I give it away what I think the two ones are before you show? Because I feel like it will be one or the other. I feel like there's only two ways of giving the finger. I'm just gonna go ahead and say which two they are.
Okay.
Go ahead. You tell me if you do something totally different, and I'll say that's amazing. So to me, there's the full extension.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then there's the kind of modified. I think
the kind of modified is kind of the thing that I would do. Yeah, the kind of modified.
Is it the what now? What's behind that? Where does that?
I think it's more of a comfort thing. It's kind of the pistol action.
It feels like you're kind of gripped, like it's an extra. I think because you got to flex those fingers, so it's almost like you're making It's almost like you're making a fist.
Yes.
Right.
It is.
And then you're. That's interesting. Yeah. I was curious if that is like something that varies by region. I
don't know if that varies by region, or if it's just kind of it's more of a feel thing. It was more of a kind of like you're like throwing it at somebody. You know what I mean?
For sure. But I used to do the modified. Mm-hmm. And then I kind of gave that up, and now it feels weird to do the modified. And I was just I don't flip a lot of folks off, but I saw somebody flipping off, and I was like, oh look, they're doing the modified.
They're doing the modified. Yeah.
And I was like, is that like just like a Southern thing? Maybe is that like a Boston thing? I don't know.
I have this up for us now.
All right. I'm glad I could entertain in the meantime.
Yeah, thank you.
Look at Idaho and whatever's next to Idaho, not giving a shit.
Wyoming, fully illegal. Medicinal, no. Decriminalized, no. Same with Idaho. And look at this. Good old South Carolina, fully illegal. They are still putting people in prison in the state of South Carolina for marijuana. Prison.
But then so is you guys
Alabama.
You guys
here's us. We are fully illegal. Medicinal, no.
No, it says decriminalized.
Criminalized, yes.
So fully okay. So you'll get a ticket.
You'll get a ticket.
But you ain't gonna go to prison or jail.
But it's either a misdemeanor or an infraction.
It's got to be an infraction. It can't be a misdemeanor because then it would be a criminalized.
It depends. Well, so it depends on the county you're in. That's the tricky thing.
And you folks in the South really got to get your shit together.
Yeah. Anyhow, so give me a state. Give me a state.
What I was going to point, but that's not going to help you. I should know my geography. So that's Louisiana. Next to Louisiana, to the right is what? Alabama. That's Mississippi. Look at Mississippi being progressive.
Yeah.
What's next to them? That's Alabama. That's hell no. What is the one in the middle? The Iowa, Kansas, fucking Kansas. Well, look at that, but look at everybody else.
Yeah. So there's only a few: Tennessee, Alabama, South Carolina, Wyoming, Idaho. You know, then you have Michigan in 2020 is fully legal. Illinois is fully legal.
Wow.
You know, Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada should have been legal like years ago. I mean, you can go buy a prostitute in that state, but you know,
right.
Colorado, South Dakota kind of struck me as kind of, you know.
Well, the 16 people there.
Yeah, I know, right?
Hey. Aloha State. No, that's Alaska. Sorry, Jesus.
Yeah,
Christ.
Alaska, fully legal. Spark it up.
They're ahead of Aloha State.
They sure are.
Come on, Hawaii. What are you doing?
I know. Florida is mixed.
But even Texas, that's got to be all Austin, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's CBD oil only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you tried that at all? Are you familiar?
I am. One of my people that works with me got me this.
Oh, what do you got? Snacks? Okay. Is that like to like rub on your aching?
On my knee. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, rub on my knee. And it works. It works. Yeah.
I also have achy knees, so that's nice to hear.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know a ton about it. You know, there's lots of little stuff on here to read.
Yeah.
But I know that when I rub this on my knee, it makes it not hurt.
You can't ask for more than that. Like how long does that last? Like
a couple hours, you know, long enough.
I mean, and that stuff is not cheap.
No, not cheap at all.
I mean, like that is more expensive than the weed that gets you high.
Right.
Like it's crazy how expensive that stuff is. It's also crazy because they make freaking dog treats with that stuff. And god dang, people will spend anything on their dogs.
Right.
So yeah, no, the CBD trade is huge. God, at some point you'd like to think that they would kind of get the whole banking thing on board so that, you know, they can stop having, you know, the huge cash trade. That's got to be the only reason why cash is even still in existence right now. I mean, is just for that. Yeah, well, that's pretty wild. I mean, that's a pretty green map.
So here's what we got. South Dakota 2020. They will have marijuana was legalized for medical and recreational use starting on July 1st, 2021. Montana, recreational sales will begin in 2022, but possession and legal use can start January 1st, 2021. Arizona, let's see here. They legalized it for recreational use, but haven't set a date yet. Vermont also legalized it in 2020, but haven't set a date for when it will be where you can carry it. So New Jersey approved it in 2020, and their legislature is coming up with the rules. Illinois passed the bill in 2019 for both medical use and recreational use. Michigan, since 2018, the use of cannabis for adult or medical purposes has been approved by the state. Michigan was the first Midwestern state to do so. Guam in 2019, Nevada since 2016, Maine since 2016, California since 2016, Washington since 2015, Oregon 2014, District of Columbia 2014, Alaska 2014, Massachusetts 2012, and Colorado 2012. So check this out. Colorado was the first state to legalize marijuana in 2012. Since its legalization 8 years ago, the government has made over $7.7 billion in cannabis sales. Colorado also does not have a shortfall problem in their state.
Yeah, right.
You know,
I mean, we shouldn't either. I'm sure we've pissed it away somehow or another.
So it's just it's very. I mean, it's you know, we both used to work at the law firm, and we both saw hundreds, if not thousands, of people in the 10 years we worked there go to prison over very small amounts of marijuana. You know, I mean, years, right? Remember, possession within 1,000 feet of a school would get you like 36 months. Remember that? 36 months.
That was crazy. Well, I mean, and God help if it violated your freaking parole or some shit.
Yeah. Or if you had a plant, then you were looking at 48.
I mean, I remember going to the evidence room to view all the evidence of a massive grow operation, and they brought it out, and they put it out on the display table. They unfolded all this big brown paper. They swept the freaking dude's basement. And it was just dirt and rocks and like gum wrappers and like a twig that was from a plant. And like that's what got that dude freaking hammered. I mean, yeah. So it's wild thinking about, places like Texas and Arizona and California legalizing it, especially with Oregon legalizing everything.
Right.
What does that do for like all the cartel stuff, all the border town stuff, I mean, that was the whole reason they existed. Right. And now you're taking away their whole market.
Mm-hmm.
And so what else do they get into? Because they're gonna
human trafficking. I don't know. I mean, like, right? What happens? Like think about the dudes we knew growing up. The weed man. Like, we all knew one, right? Everybody knew one. What happened to Homeboy?
No, I mean, you got to go do something. You got to do
something.
I
would assume, like a few people I know back there, they now own a dispensary,
which is awesome. Because I mean, shit, if the Kennedys can go from running booze to running the country.
Yeah.
I mean, if Donnie Trump's daddy can be a whoremonger and run brothels, then why not some guy from the neighborhood that used to sling sacks that.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. So in Oregon, it's legal to have 1 ounce outside the home and 4 plants per household.
You can have a lot.
So, I mean, are the cops like checking houses that might have 5 plants?
I don't think I couldn't imagine. I mean,
what's the purpose of I don't understand the purpose of that. Either it's legal or it's not.
I don't know. They put restrictions on like how much beer you can brew, right? I mean, they put restrictions on how much liquor you could make. If you can make it liquor at all, I assume you can. I mean, everybody out here makes their own beer and liquor and shit, right?
Right.
So
I don't know. I mean,
same thing. I mean,
an ounce is quite a bit.
Yes.
I've my lifetime been in the presence of an ounce. I've seen it in front of me. It's an impressive amount. So
what's crazy is when it gets less impressive and you're like, eh.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Roll we rolled with. I remember, like I told you, the first time that I was in the back room of that strip club on 82nd. And the first time I saw a kilo of cocaine, I was like, "Oh,
Hey-o. Now, so
I'm
you
probably
you just like step the game up tremendously. Like I was just I was gonna relate a story about my weed man who he was like, hey man, I got to make a stop, and it was like at an auto parts store, and like he comes back from the auto parts store with a box of cereal
okay."
because that looks normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Walking out of an auto parts store with a box of cereal
Right.
that had a QP in it. And like, okay, and again, to me, I was like, wow, a quarter pound of weed, that's a lot.
Right.
And he left it in my truck as we went skiing that night. I mean, just the way shit goes.
Yeah.
But now a kilo of blow, I mean, I never even seen. I don't even think I've seen a gram of rock, dude. So I mean,
So
I mean,
I don't want to drop
my
names.
teetotaler ass.
I don't want to drop names or anything, but there was a specific strip club on 82nd in Portland, which there's like 5,000 of them.
You gotta narrow that down, yeah.
Yeah, somebody's gonna narrow it down. But one of my friends, this is back in the God, was it the 90s? I don't remember when this was. Anyways,
I mean, that's a lot of coke.
his dad owned the strip club.
Okay.
And basically he ran the day-to-day operations of the strip club. And me and
was it the one that you get that everybody went to go get a steak from?
No, wasn't that one. Wasn't that
Sorry,
no. This was
I'm sorry to segue here. I'm just gonna segue. When you go to a gentleman's club, do you enjoy eating?
Not really.
Me either. Especially a fucking steak.
I know.
Right? But sorry, go ahead.
So his dad owned the strip club, and his dad was a dirty old man. Dirty old man. And I had no idea that the gentleman's club was a front for these biker gangs.
Sounds about right.
No clue. I mean, I was 24, 25, I don't know. I just thought it was cool that my friend's dad owned a strip club and we could go in there and drink all day and get free lap dances, and it was just kind of like, hey. And every now and then, if they had a good week or a good month, he would let his son audition the new girls. And I won't get into a whole lot of details on that.
Oh, why?
but he would get to audition the new girls because usually that was daddy's job.
Wow. The casting couch.
Like I said, he was a dirty old man. But we would hang out in the back where the entertainment hung out, right? And I was always afraid to go in that back room because I didn't want to get herpes or AIDS or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Or in some of the activities that some of my other friends partook in. And at the time I think I was working at the law firm then, and some of the girls I recognized from court.
Nice.
I don't dip the wick in both in two sides of the ink. So I never partook in any of that cannery. But I remember walking in the back one day and the back service door was open. And there was this dude I didn't recognize with this big ass beard. And the guy's dad walked in. This guy had this not a Ziploc bag, but it's a plastic bag that didn't have like a hefty duty plastic bag, and just dumped all this powder out on this big scale. Just put it, and it was like you see in the movie, it was just a volcano mountain, and put it on the scale. And I saw the scale and I saw how much it was, and they saw me, and I literally walked right by him like I didn't see him and went right out the back door. Got in my car, started it up, and left. And I remember seeing my friends a couple of days later. They're like, "What happened to you?" This is before cell phones. Nobody could call me. I didn't want anything to do with that. I didn't know what was going to go down, but
Nah.
I clearly saw them weighing out a kilo of cocaine on this scale. And my buddy, the next time I saw him, knew that I saw it, and I never said a word about it. Like, it was just kind of this unspoken thing. And I, from that day on, I never went in the back again. Like, and then I'd see these biker dudes come in and they get free drinks, and I'm kind of like, all right, player, I.
Yeah.
And they were like, can I buy you a drink? I'm like, no, I buy you a drink.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
No,
man. And it was, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, how anybody could argue against legalizing all of it, because that's what you get rid of.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, like I said in the beginning, I'm not gonna knock anybody's hustle for trying to make $1, but
but that's the thing. Those folks would have to find something else to go hustle.
they would totally have to find something.
They have to. I mean, there's no way around it. When it becomes legal, all the weed guys got to go either step up their game and start slinging rocks, or they go get a job somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, I know a guy in Vancouver who spent several years incarcerated for marijuana and got out, and is a silent partner in a dispensary.
Nice.
Can't be part of it yet because his record's not expunged. But the guy who owns the store, this guy is kind of not the chemist, because he's not mixing chemicals, but he's the guy living out in Wood Village, Rhododendron. What's the next city over?
Like Zigzag or
Zigzag. What Zigzag? Yes, he's the one that lives on the farm that is doing all the stuff, and then it over there because he can't be on it because he's a felon and he hasn't had his record expunged.
Yeah.
He's doing the same thing that got him sent to prison, and now it's legal. He literally he literally is almost working on the same area that got busted, that got him sent to federal prison. But
I mean, so many of these, like when I go to a dispensary, and I mean, like, there's 18 different whatever farm names. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stargazer Farm, or Oregon Cascadia Farms, or whatever the shit they are. I mean, they're just any number of them. And like, I take recreational drives out in the woods, out near where you're talking about. And I mean, you can see what are obvious grow operations. I mean, they're huge ass warehouses in the middle of the goddamn woods. Right. I mean, there ain't nothing else you're doing out there.
Yeah.
I mean, with like huge power draws. I mean, I know what a 240 or a 480 or whatever they are, the big power services.
Yeah.
What else you doing? You got a server farm out there? I mean, and again, like you said, these places have been growing weed for decades and decades.
Yeah.
Now they're just doing it out in the open, and they're licensed and they're taxed and whatever, and that's all great. Fine, groovy.
Yeah.
Instead of doing some sketch shit where you're booby trapping some trail in the woods because you got a big grow up, or like the cartels. I mean, shit, they sent people out here to the woods to grow big operations, and they don't I mean, I bet they probably still do, because they want to, get around any kind of taxes, I suppose. At that point, you're just evading the tax man, which of one person that's going to come get you.
Is going to be the tax man.
Man, I mean, that's what we've seen historically. So Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in Oregon legalizing, I mean, they decriminalized.
Everything, right?
We decriminalize everything, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have whatever. So that should free up our police to just go beat some protesters, I guess. Um, but like the magic mushrooms, like those are going to be allowed. But
Mm-hmm.
the trick with that is that you have to consume them like at the dispensary, which it seems kind of weird. It's like you just gonna have like a bunch of people like all tripping balls like at some freaking like strip mall or something. I
I
don't.
mean, do you have to consume it and wait till the trip is over before you can get in the car and leave, or?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Or it's like you just got to eat it here, and then you can bounce. Like, oh, good, I'm gonna go trip nuts like on my drive home. I mean, that's
Right.
no good. So I don't know
Oh,
exactly how that.
speaking of that, you remember my friend? I won't say his name, but he always drove the Volkswagens.
Okay.
Remember who I'm talking about?
Well, I mean, is it the same person that I bought one wheel from
Yes.
in
Yes.
the parking lot for my Volkswagen?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know who
So,
that guy was. I just somehow got in touch with him from, I
yeah.
assume, you or whoever.
So, him and his buddy one day were driving down the road, and I was following behind them, and they were weaving all over the road. And I'm flashing my lights, honking the horn. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? He's like, that little green guy was trying to get us. And I'm like, what? And I realized he was tripping. One dude was doing the pedals, and the other one was in the passenger seat steering.
Wow.
One that was behind the wheel was telling the one who was steering where the green dude was, and they were trying to hit him. And I'm like, park your car and get in my car. Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, well, it's nice to
at
have
that
a
time, we were
responsible
like
friend.
23 years old too. Like,
I um, I mean, there's a lot to be said for rites of passage for young
yeah,
men, and that I mean, I think we rely on sports for that, for a big part of that, which,
yeah,
I don't think that's quite it. Um, whether or not you should go be in the woods overnight with nothing, or whether it's go fight a bear, or whether it's go to a biker bar and do some blow off a hooker's ass. I don't know what it is.
right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, young men, they definitely have it to get out, and I don't know, make it a fight club so everybody just whoops each other's ass until they're freaking tired. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, we did some really silly things when we were younger, but I don't think we ever put ourselves in any danger. At least, like, well,
Yeah, see, I mean that's what I'm saying. So,
not
um,
not too much danger.
okay. Uh, um, yeah. So, what else is shaking?
All right. So, do you think, and this is a buy or sell? Sell in the next calendar year, before December of 2021, will we see Donald Trump indicted by a grand jury in New York State or any other state for that matter, but specifically New York State? Buy or
In,
sell?
indicted? Sure. I mean, any consequence?
Well, we'll get to that later. First
Okay.
is, will
um,
he be indicted? Because that's
yeah,
indicted.
I mean, I think that's a no-brainer. I mean, that's something that nobody can stand in the way of. I mean, he can't harden himself out of it. So, sure. And you know, it'll make somebody feel good. Like, I think that'll be the thing. Joe Biden will be able to go, okay, I'm not going after the previous president, and I'm maintaining that great gentleman's agreement, like we're so fond
Mhm.
of maintaining all these gentlemen's agreements that just always, always, always benefit us. Um, but then in the meantime, I'll satisfy everybody's urge to hang Trump because, you know, the state level will get them or will get to at least try to do their thing. And when it fails and everybody's sad, Biden will go, well, hey, you know, we'll all move forward together. And we tried, but we just couldn't because gosh, he's just a slippery one. Um, you know, and it just sucks. And like, but it's not just him. I mean, like the 120 something Congress people that signed on to leave the country. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that seems like that could use a repercussion. Um, but that's the thing, man. I mean, we have goldfish memories. Nobody will give a shit, and it will all just go away, and it will all just be covered up by these very same Republicans acting completely indignant and, oh my gosh, I never. Can you believe what Biden did?
Can you believe the gall of this guy?
Dude, and I mean, and they're going to say it with so much concern on their face and, oh, I'm just aghast. And you're like, man, you should be freaking against the wall. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and I honestly don't believe that there will be anything that comes of it. I really don't. And it sucks.
So you think New York, so you think the state of New York will indict him, but will fail to convict him and he'll never face any consequences. That's what you think.
They may even convict, but he won't even, I don't even think he'll be there. I mean, either one, he'll be in Florida, and then what, you're going to extradite him from Florida when the governor of Florida is like the biggest Trump cultist there is. So he won't allow that. And then the president will be like the president at large or some bullshit from his compound. And I mean, dude, Howie will just carpet bomb that fucking place while he's there.
I don't know, man.
Honestly, I mean, at that point, because I mean, this is the lane that I see it. If he doesn't just get on a jet and get dropped off in Russia, if he stays in this country, how he doesn't get locked up, or it will blow my mind, but it won't blow my mind.
Dude, if he gets on a plane and goes to Russia, like that'll validate what everybody's been saying, and people will still defend him.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, 100%. The people that go, ha, knew it, piece of garbage. Yeah, we'll all say that and go, see, told you. And then all the cult followers will just be like, oh, that was the only place he could go because everybody was being so mean to him. Yeah, right. Poor guy.
All right, next buy or sell. So you are a big movie buff, right? You
like some
Marvel movies. So one of the studios, I think it was Marvel, I think it was MGM, just announced they're going to release all of their movies on HBO Max and streaming services simultaneously while releasing them to the movie theaters. And they might even release them to streaming services first. Buy or sell, will this kill the theater industry?
I thought theater industry was already dead.
Okay.
I mean, I assumed that they weren't coming back from COVID. I mean,
okay.
Other than some crazy person who would want to go into a theater. I mean, maybe I'm just, been in the basement too long, but.
So you and your family aren't going to a theater?
Nope. Not anytime soon. I mean, maybe after all the Rona's settled, sure, but I assume by that time, because to me, theaters were on their last legs anyway. Everybody's got a home theater, literally. We've all got a better screen in our house than in any movie theater. So It's like you're already in a losing proposition because why would I want to leave my comfortable house to go sit with a bunch of freaking people that I don't want to be around?
Paying overpriced popcorn.
Yeah, and watching it on a screen that isn't as good as the one I got at my house. It's bigger, okay, fine, but my TV looks better. I mean, so like I said, I can pause it.
So you personally, would you pay for a streaming service to see all the movies first run? at your house?
I mean, I personally may not, but I could see that being a successful platform. I could see lots of folks doing it for sure.
So a
100%.
lot of the Marvel movies, it's either Marvel, DC. I'll have to go back and look it up. I had it handy, and then my computer went kind of wacky. But a lot of these new superhero movies and things are going to be released 2021 to the streaming services simultaneously or first
Mm.
movie
Yeah.
because they're in a big fight over royalties and payments. And if they release it on the streaming services, they don't have to pay AMC and all these other people any money. They get to keep it all because
Right.
the studio is owned by the same people as the streaming services. So they're just basically giving it to you and I, and we're already paying $7.99 or whatever for HBO Max, and they don't have to pay the theater to broadcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, like I said, I thought theaters were done for before Rona,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought they were absolutely a smoldering wreck of just big, empty, wasted space. Now, I mean, with the Rona, I mean, I mean, drive-in movie theaters, I think, have more of a life shot than than traditional movie theaters.
Dude, we went to a drive-in a few months ago. It was awesome.
So I'm saying,
We,
and I
we took
mean, the amount of money invested in a retail space brick and mortar theater. Oh my God.
yeah.
That's such a huge footprint. That's such a huge electric bill. I mean, that's such a huge everything. And you're competing against streaming services. I mean, good luck.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
Well, also, we're all conditioned right now to be in our homes anyway. And like I watched, so I don't know if your boys watch Scooby Doo, but like we're a big Scooby Doo household.
okay.
The Scoob was supposed to come out right around the time Rona happened.
Hmm.
I remember seeing the announcements for it, Scoob, and I was all excited, and I was going to take the girls, and they were kind of, oh God, Dad, you and your Scooby Doo, and I'm like, look, you guys are going to watch Scooby Doo. You're damn going to watch Scooby Doo. I watched Scooby Doo; it was a big part of my childhood. So we watch a lot of Boomerang, and my 11-year-old is like, oh, Scooby Doo, and the 8-year-old's like, oh, Dad, I haven't seen this one yet. So we were all going to go as a family to go see Scoob, and then the Rona.
Mm.
So when they released it on HBO Max, I'm like, stars are aligning, right? So we all sat down, and there's that car again. There's this car that comes through here at like midnight every night. Like it must be like a Charger with like a 600 horsepower engine. And
You'd be surprised. I mean, like, a pretty low powered car can be pretty loud and obnoxious if you take a few parts off.
he's taking some parts off. That sounds mean. That sounds like
Or it's legit, and
that
that's fun
sounds like
too.
American muscle out there right now. Like,
But I mean, like my little 4-cylinder, I mean, it cracks and pops just because I mean, it's that's the way it was kind of designed to be.
right.
Which is also kind of fun. I mean, like I said, it's juvenile as shit. But whatever, when I was a juvenile, I couldn't afford a car like this. So,
Right.
that's why I do it now.
So not to get sidetracked. So Scoob came out. We watched
Yep.
Scoob on HBO Max. It was great. It was a little hokey. I'm a big fan of so there's eras of Scooby Doo. I'm a big fan of the Casey Kasem era of Scooby Doo.
All right, we're gonna
Old school.
All right.
Right. Some of the newer stuff, it's
Mm-hmm.
and then they had kind of a renaissance of Scooby-Doo. There was kind of a renaissance of Scooby-Doo where they kind of went back to the old style of Scooby-Doo.
Right.
And then there was this kind of like metaphysical, almost like sci-fi Scooby-Doo. But
Okay.
my favorite episode ever was when the Globetrotters were on Scooby-Doo. I don't know.
That I remember for sure.
That era of Scooby-Doo is by far my favorite. Those episodes of Scooby-Doo are by far my favorite.
Mm.
Some of the new okay too, but that was like the golden age. And I could talk Scooby-Doo all day long because I've seen almost every, let's say there's 1,000 episodes of Scooby-Doo. I've seen 800.
I believe it.
I've also seen every episode of Beavis and Butthead, but that's a whole nother story.
Nice. I haven't seen that for a long time. But I do try to get my kiddos to watch some of the old cartoons, from back in the day. And what was it? I tried having my kiddo watch Tron, the movie. He kind of thought it was hokey as shit.
Yeah.
And I mean it looks pretty hokey,
Yeah, I mean the cartoons that they have nowadays. I mean, are your boys into anime?
Oh yeah, I mean any ones that are age appropriate, I mean like there's like Pokemon cartoons. I don't know if you've seen any of the Pokemon shows.
Yeah, some of them are not necessarily kid friendly.
No, well, I guess I don't know that.
Okay, there's some of them. There's some of them. The story is a little adult. Like,
okay,
they get into some, and I'm kind of like, I don't remember this from Pokemon back in the day. Like some of the stuff is like, it's kind of dark, like.
I'll have to maybe pay attention because I just assumed that it's all good that it's Pokemon cartoon. So
I mean, it's kind of like kids watching The Simpsons. Like if they don't understand the jokes,
for sure,
for
sure.
like,
Well, because we thought that it would be fun to like watch The Simpsons, and then I was like, holy crap, I haven't watched The Simpsons for a while because damn, that is way nope.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're 7 years old and you don't understand the joke, you just think the Homer fat guy is kind of funny.
For sure.
Watching it, we're like, cover your ears because we've been watching it for 30 years, And,
yeah.
My 11-year-old decided her and her friends were going to live stream every episode of The Simpsons. And they started from episode 1 and they probably made it through like 40 episodes over the course of quarantine.
Okay.
Decided they were 11-year-old girls and got bored with it.
All right.
They were streaming it on not FaceTime, but they were using something and they were watching FXX. Not FX, but FXX was having a marathon and you can go and watch them and they were watching them, and some of them I walked in and it was like obviously in the early 90s and it was just cringeworthy and they didn't get it and going to explain it. And, but I'm kind of like, God, but yeah, The Simpsons is another one. Family Guy. I try to turn off Family Guy.
Oh, no, no, there's nothing about Family Guy that's okay for my kiddos to watch right now.
Family Guy and Futurama's kind of the same way.
Nah, those are all too, those are all pretty. I'm still trying to keep them a little more naive than
South Park.
That's what I'm saying, really.
You love South Park.
Oh, of course. I mean, shoot, it's silly fun. No, I mean, what's crazy is like my littlest one will watch YouTube videos of basically like kids playing, with their toys, and I'm like,
yes,
God damn, just go play with your own toys,
right?
That one kind of blows my mind a little bit.
Yep, that one, yeah, we go through that. Cookie Swirl C and a few others, but now they're into watching people play video games.
Yep, for sure.
Whether it's Minecraft or so. My 11-year-old today, I went in her room and she was watching somebody do a build in Minecraft, and then she was simultaneously trying to do that same build, and I thought
Yeah. Okay.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um, and then my younger one just likes to watch things that like she thinks are real, but they're obviously heavily edited and staged. Where it's like a family and they've got like this evil doll and his name is Slappy, and the doll's like showing up in different places, and they're like, oh my god, she's like, oh, and she thinks it's like a real episode every week, but it's obviously not. They're obviously in it, but she's it's
No, I mean,
innocent. It's innocent as it can be, and let her have her fantasy for a few years, and.
Nah, I mean, it kind of blows my mind some of the things that, and you think about that too, like how much goes into kids programming, like the board meetings and like how much planning and like professional people making a lot of money trying to come up with kids ideas and kid shows. Nah, man, my kid watches a fucking YouTube channel of another kid playing with his toys. That's what he watches,
But there's
and
something kind of refreshing about that. Of all the things they could be watching, and that's what they're watching.
oh, it's crazy. I mean, I what would you have watched when you were a kid if you had access to freaking YouTube? I mean, because I mean, like back in the day, it was, oh, have you heard of Faces of Death? It's like a video that like you got to rent from the store, or maybe you steal it, and it's got people dying.
Dude,
Film,
okay. So, God, I'm telling all these damn stories, and I shouldn't be telling them. All right, I'm not going to tell that story. We don't have enough time. We're almost at time. Okay, so remind me next week to tell you how I almost got kicked out of high school. That'll be our tease.
All right.
How I not almost got kicked out of high school, but how I almost got arrested by the FBI and kicked out of high school.
Wow. Okay.
I've ever told you this story.
That's a better teaser than eating while you shit.
Yeah. So remind me. Yeah, it's a whole deed, but I almost got kicked out of high school.
Quick follow up to eating while you shit.
Yes.
So have you ever been like in a situation like when you're done shitting, are you de facto and default done eating? Or has your meal continued entering the shitter and you're still eating that meal when you leave the shitter?
It depends on the meal you take in.
That's a yes. That's happened. That's a yes.
So back in the day, back in the day, have I ever been eating a bowl of cereal and wanted to continue it while I was in the bathroom? Absolutely. But like I said, that has been 20 years.
But not just continue it in the bathroom, but then you're still eating that bowl of cereal after the bathroom. So what I'm driving at here is there's a point where you're
cross contamination.
Right on the nose, baby. So, I mean, just in case our viewers are having a little trouble visualizing this. So you're taking a shit after you've walked in with a bowl of cereal. You go, I got to set this down. I got to get ready. You're on a toilet. You pick your bowl of cereal back up, I assume, from wherever you set it. You get to eating. So far, so good. But now you're admitting that there's I'm just trying to understand completely, because you're admitting at some point in your life you have eaten that same bowl that the bowl of cereal doesn't get finished before you leave. The view we're having is Jamal eating a bowl of cereal going into the bathroom. A little while later, Jamal still eating a bowl of cereal coming out of the bathroom. So you either have a stash of cereal and milk in the bathroom, or you eat some whilst shitting, for our English-speaking folks,
Well,
and
remember.
then you set the bowl down, finish up.
Well, remember, I also
Mm.
had a keg of beer in my bathtub for 4 months.
Right. That was like a brief time. I think that was like a, that was like a special time. To me, I'm going out on a limb here. Here's my limb for the evening. Eating while shitting has maybe been a longer span of time than the keg of beer for 4 months.
It was right around the time when I was living in those apartments, and those were some.
That was the only time. You're telling me that all the time growing up, Miss Harvey
Oh
would
no, that didn't
never
go
have
down.
seen
No.
Miss Harvey would never have seen young
No.
Jamal
When I was
scampering off
living
to
at
the
home,
shitter.
when I was living at home, food didn't leave the kitchen. It didn't go anywhere.
Oh, you had that rule.
Yeah, food did not.
Really, you didn't eat downstairs? Like there weren't like bowls of everything down in your basement?
Not till I was like 17 years old. When I was a kid, food did not leave the kitchen. It was not an option.
So in your adolescence, then, once you're like, no, I'm a man, men take their cereal to the shitter.
I mean, you remember my old apartment? It wasn't that big. I mean,
no, I'm saying like this had to happen in your house when you were younger. That's what I'm
No.
Just
no.
Okay.
No. This was when I was living on my own, and it was just me and the cats, and in the little janky apartment.
Yeah. Okay.
That was it, because the kitchen was basically hooked up to the bathroom.
What about these days? When's the last time you enjoyed some food in the shitter?
Oh, it's been 25 years.
Wow. What made you stop? Was there an incident?
Well, when I left that apartment, I moved in with you.
Yes.
And that probably wouldn't have been the best idea. And after I moved out.
What makes you think that eating in the shitter while we lived together was a bad idea?
It's just a bad idea.
I mean, we shared the shitter. I mean, it was as much your shitter to go have a snack in as mine to not.
And then when I moved out from you, I moved in with my soon-to-be wife.
And
that just wasn't. Yeah.
She was not down with the snacks.
No, when you first start a relationship with somebody, you're kind of on best behavior.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things you do that are bad ideas that you don't do in front of other people.
I know, but now you've been together for like a long time, so I'm kind of
but now
is this where the wife goes, "Oh, honey, do you want to eat in the toilet again?" And it's oh my God, I've been holding on to this for so long.
It's not the most sanitary thing.
Well, I thought we were kind of beyond that.
No, here's the deal. This is what I have done. I have walked into the bathroom with can of Sprite or something down, or like a cup with the lid on it, but no like food product. Yeah, that's not like
okay.
Not like the good old days.
The good old days.
Okay. Where everything was wide open. Everything was wide open.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad that we had some follow up to that.
Yes.
I know
next week.
Yep.
Next week, remind me how I almost got kicked out of Catholic school and simultaneously arrested by the FBI.
Well, that just sounds
fun times.
Yeah, I
almost didn't get to graduate. They almost didn't let me walk across the stage.
Wow, such a bad boy. Folks, he's not. He comes off like an angel.
Hey,
but
I have said that there's not a lot I'm not proud of in my history. That I've never been in jail, never been arrested. I have been in handcuffs. Wasn't from the cops.
All right. So now some of us have. are we like lesser folks? Is that what are you
Not,
driving
not
at?
at all. Not at all.
Okay, good.
Everybody is
Because
entitled to make a mistake or two here or there. I'm just saying,
right.
of all the silly things I've done in my life, I've done them in the presence of law enforcement.
Well, and there's something to be said for that because I mean, you know, the whole if I'd have got caught for half the shit that I did, you know, that would have been no good. Um, and you know, like we've talked about in the past of if we'd have had phones when we were kids,
Yeah.
what stupid shit would we have recorded ourselves doing?
I mean,
You
I
know,
can think of 10 or 15 different things we did with several of our friends that we would have been like, hey, I'm going live. Look at this. And then,
man.
oh,
And I mean,
oh,
and there are actual some still photos that exist from some of those events.
yes,
And
there
even when
are.
I see those now, I'm like, wow, we thought it was a good idea to take a picture of that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like, ooh.
Yeah.
Here's the
So, you
thing.
know,
Back in our day, because we're old, we had to like take our film to like a place and have them develop it.
yeah, you had to really mean it. You had to really want a picture. You know what I'm
So
saying?
somebody
So,
saw those pictures before we got them.
well, and also we had to go, you know, I mean, it's a real special moment right now.
Right.
My ass in somebody's face.
Yeah.
That needs to be that needs to be immortalized.
Oh my God, I know exactly the picture you're talking about. Yes, I know exactly the picture you're talking about.
Oh, so
Wow.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you can just fire off like, oh, I'm gonna just film straight to YouTube live for hours and hours and unending video. Like, no, you had to really want that shit.
You
So,
did. And you had to take it there. And the thing that we never thought about was there was a dude at the Fred Meyer who was looking at these photos before you got.
oh man, that was the job to have, right? I mean,
Oh man.
God, what crazy shit would you see if you were like a photo tech person that like had to preview everybody's photos and be like, wow. Cause you know, people were taking like, you know, all their raunch ass photos, you
Yeah.
know, photos of them banging people are probably taking photos of their dicks forever.
Probably.
You know what I mean? It's
And then
just
taking it down to the store and the CVS or the Fred Meyers or the Walgreens and
and you just know that only that guy is the only guy that's I mean, like do people do that? Like they would take a picture of their stuff just to make somebody else look at it? Or was it, oh, somebody's got to see my crazy photos? It'll be like buying condoms. I'll just be all ashamed when I pick up my photos.
no, remember though, there was a couple of places where you could take photos that was kind of judgment free. Do you remember?
No, I thought
They
they were always like
specialized, yeah.
grocery store or whatever, you know,
It was God,
judgment free.
yeah, I don't remember what they said, but it was like a safe place where you could get your photos developed.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That sounds like something in Portland.
Because you'd be
Yeah,
like, I got
nice.
this, because like you'd have like 4 or 5 different rolls of film, and you're like, oh man, I don't remember what's on these. Like, damn, you know.
Wow. Yeah.
Not that I was taking
Um,
crazy photos, but you never know. I mean,
hey.
I remember when I got my first digital camera and I created my website and I was taking crazy pictures. I sent you some, not crazy pictures, just like, oh my God, look at us. We didn't have any gray hair back then, and I had hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we better end it. We're running a little long. So I want to thank everybody. If you got this far, you're a rock star. Thank you
Yep.
for the Jamal and Joe show. Next week, Mr. Joe is going to remind me to tell you all about how I was almost arrested by the FBI in high school.
Yep. Put it on my calendar.
Yes, but I need you all to do me a favor. Oh, I want to thank you to Pedro for the very nice comment on our last.
Nice.
We appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, love hearing anybody commenting. I mean, you can say happy things, you can say less than happy things. You know, it's all good. But it's nice to have any kind of feedback. So thanks to everybody that watches a little bit, watches a lot. You know, we sure appreciate it. And
absolutely. Like, share, I always get it wrong. Like us, Follow us, subscribe to us, share us, turn on notifications. We record this show every Saturday night. It's usually up and running by Monday or Tuesday for your viewing pleasure. And we really appreciate you, everybody out there. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Jamal and Joe Show.